You're listening to Spark TV, where we bring you daily interviews with real women in business at all stages. I'm your host, Danielle Lewis, and I am so grateful to have you here. So good. Kelly, welcome to Spark TV.
Thank you. Very excited, and thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to have you on the podcast and share your story. So let's just dive straight in and tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Oh, how long do we have?
Maybe
So,
I'll get a bottle of wine. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. So my name is Kelly Donougher. I am the director and founder of 13 Interiors, which is a interior design business, and we specialize in residential and commercial as well. And we have studios in Perth and Melbourne, which is super exciting. So I get to travel across the country and work with lots of different clients in my team. I also love presenting workshops, speaking events, and I've just written a book as well, which is called No Fence, No Limits, which is super exciting.
Oh my God, there's a lot to talk about there.
Yes.
So let's start out with the interior design business, obviously. So what kind of clients, like what kind of work do you work on? When would somebody come to you?
We specialize in the forever home. So I
Oh,
love the journey of working with clients when they're long-term decisions. They could be a couple, they might be a family, but we're really looking at their long-term future and making
mm.
decisions about the longevity of their home, the functionality, and the practicality for the future. So I love that kind of design. I love start to finish projects. So often we work with clients that might be at the new build stage, and we work with them right through to furnishing and styling at the very end. We might work on renovations with clients.
Mhm.
We also do commercial projects as well. So, very much about long term decisions when it comes to practicality and functionality and those long term homes.
Oh, I think that's gorgeous. So you'll probably hate this, but I'm mid-season of the block right now. Is
Yeah.
it as dramatic as it looks?
Oh, look, I think the media beats up a lot about the dynamics of the couples to really try and fish into the world of getting viewer attention. The reality of building and renovating in their environment is obviously super quick. And that is not the way the real world works, but they are also very limited in the products and the brands that they can use. So it's all set up from
Mm.
prior. So they have access to particular products. And so that's why, I do feel for them sometimes when they get slammed by the judges and things like that for choices, but they don't actually get a lot of choice. So
Yeah.
it's not like the real world at all.
I know. I actually think it's put me off renovating. Like I've what we watch it a
Mm.
lot and I'm like, I don't think I could deal with it. I just would say come to someone like you and say, could you just make my fantasy happen and take care of everything? I will not be participating in this.
That's why we love 3D design. We do, yeah, a lot
Mm.
of well, pretty much everything we do, to be honest, is 3D. So we're physically
That's cool.
showing a client exactly what their home is going to look like before it's actually renovated. And we
Mm.
also use virtual reality programs as well for those larger scale projects where they can immerse,
Wow.
walk through, wear the goggles.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So that's really fun. That's been a new introduction and that's been really well received. And I think quite captivating for the client as well, because as
Mm.
much as 3D shows, the reality of what a home can look like completed, virtual reality is that next step of
Yeah.
immersing yourself in it. And when you put those goggles on, it really is a different feeling.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting point too. A home kind of is about the feeling, isn't it?
Mm.
People often talk about that when they buy a house, they just step in this is it, this is it, like you just have that immediate, I want to live here moment. And I
Yeah.
think that, it is difficult. Not everyone is visual, creative kind of person. So, when you talk about designing or building a forever home, I feel like that's a huge like responsibility going, oh my God, how do I pick something that I'm supposed to love for the rest of my life if you're not kind of creative or visual? You
Yeah.
know, I think that's something like that virtual reality just makes so much sense in helping people get to that point and being comfortable with the decisions that they're making.
It really is because people get quite obviously emotionally invested. So
Mm,
making decisions when you're emotionally charged and you've got often two decisions to take into account. So both partners in most situations. So it can be really overwhelming. So it's up to us to really work with those clients, delve into what their needs are, what their wants are, make sure both people
mm.
are heard. So sometimes we're like marriage counselors as well.
Oh my God, I love it. And so now you mentioned you've got the two studios. So what does that mean your team looks like?
So we have three designers on the team, and they all are in Perth because that's where we originated with the first studio in Joondalup. But they have the opportunity to come to Melbourne as well, depending on the type of projects we're working on and whether they need to be in Melbourne for meetings. And I also like to have them in Melbourne for particular events. So it could be
Mm,
further development for them if there's events for our industry. So design week and decor and design and things like that, where they can come and learn and also meet our suppliers. There's a lot on the East Coast that's not available to Perth. So for us,
yeah.
it's a really great opportunity for our Perth clients because we can physically see so much more in person and really vet what we are choosing for our clients and
Mm,
selecting and making sure it is the right fit versus a lot of people have to look at things online and they just don't have the luxury of seeing that physical item in
mm.
person. So we have that advantage now too.
That's really interesting. I always think that about Perth. So I am over in WA, but I'm east from the East Coast.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I've always thought that why aren't things over like WA is like its own little country. Why don't they have access to all of the stuff that the East Coast people do? I just think it's actually ripe for opportunity.
Yeah, you're exactly right in saying that. It's a huge opportunity. I think a lot of things come down to freight and shipping costs,
Mm,
and
yeah.
a lot of the brands originate on the East Coast. So the head office is Sydney or Melbourne. And then
Yeah.
they might have a little subsidiary, chain over here or a distributor, and then they just don't want to invest the money in having a solid base in WA. It's just that maybe some brands don't see it worth the investment.
Mm,
So yeah, it's something that has been really challenging for our industry for such a long time. So it's been really great to now have the base over here, widen our circle of who we get to work with, what we
mm,
get to see, and then it allows us to give that back to the client to say, hey, I physically sat on your couch and it's amazing. And
yeah.
or get more samples or whatever it might be, or send them videos. And yeah, it's been a really good opportunity to further improve our client experience.
Wow, I love that. And so do you, when you said you have the studio, so do you actually have physical space that
Yeah.
clients can come into?
Yeah, so physical space. So the Joondalup space has the studio where the team works, and we also have
Hmm.
our warehouse attached, which is great because we
Yeah.
generally, when we are doing furniture curation and things like that, all that stuff comes
Mm.
to us first. So we
Yep.
vet it all, and then we check it, and then we plan our installs with the clients. So we
Mm.
have about 200 square meters in that building. And then in Melbourne, we have our studio in St Kilda, which is great, which is a smaller space. But it's staff can work in that space, and then I also have the meeting area as well, where clients can come in, and we have the presentation space to put their designs on the TV and work through that as well. And then suppliers can also come in. So it's been wonderful to have those two locations and
Mm.
work with our clients face to face. We just found East Coast were just getting tired of Zoom, really. And I was
Yeah.
as well. I wanted that bespoke and boutique experience for our East Coast people.
Yeah, but also I would say challenging. So from a business point of view, what's it been like to operate a business that requires physical space and inventory and, because that's quite an overhead, right?
Yeah, it's a cost. I think
Mm.
that the Perth building was a different setup because we bought that building. So
Hmm.
that is a different kind of investment, long-term investment for my husband and I, from a perspective of doesn't matter
That's smart.
what's in that space. Yeah, so
Yep.
that was definitely not a leasing decision. The building I got in St Kilda is a lease, but I negotiated a really good lease, and it's financially, it's like a consult a week pays for that space. So I've been
Nice.
super lucky with securing that building, and knowing that it's actually not a huge overhead for us and it's not costing the business money. I'm making that money back in a sense of the service that we're now providing those clients.
Yeah, and I would assume that that is really valuable to someone having the opportunity to come in to meet you. Like this
Yeah,
is, as we said, emotional decision, long-term decision. You want
exactly.
to know that you're investing in the
Yeah.
right person. And as much as
Yeah.
technology is amazing and we have Zoom and what have you, I can
Mm,
imagine that that would be really, really important for people to come in and meet you and see things in
yeah.
the flesh.
It's time investment with them. I mean, sometimes we are at
Mm.
people's homes as well if they're renovating, like we're obviously going to them
Mm.
too. But it's the representation of the business, it's that brand awareness, it's creating an environment where they feel valued and they're working with a reputable brand.
I love that. So how long have you been in business now?
Just over, or is it nearly 8 years? I feel like it goes so fast.
Oh my God, you're like an old
Yeah.
person in business.
2017, I first registered my business, but I was working in mining for quite a few years before I leaped over full time.
Ah, it sounds like WA, yes.
Yes.
Oh, how good. How did you, so then if you were in mining, how did we get from mining to interiors?
Yeah, well, I talk all about that in my book as well. So the
Yes, good
mining life,
segue.
yeah, the mining life was a bit of a reset. We'd moved from Sydney, hustle and bustle over there, and a long journey of fertility struggles and those
Mm,
types of things, living in the rat race of Sydney and
mm,
driving here, there, and everywhere, and working in jobs that we both had for a really long time. And then we had the opportunity to move to Perth and basically start roles in mining. And we thought, hey, why don't we go for 3 years, experience something different, experience the other side of the country, have a lifestyle reset, see what happens. And
mm.
then that actually eventuated into 12 years. And we had so
Always.
many, I know, isn't it? It's a
Wow.
classic case of like, let's do something different. And then it all changes again, which is very
Mm,
standard for us. But it was such an amazing experience. Like we loved Perth. We loved the lifestyle. We'd go up to Ningaloo Reef and Exmouth. We'd go down to Margaret River, and we had all this time because we were on these roster scenarios
mm.
and we weren't working 24/7.
Yeah.
So that was a really nice experience to have that reset. And then we came to that point where we decided to try with the fertility treatments again, and got to that point where it just really wasn't working for us anymore. And I was just,
Mm,
this is just not going to happen. And I had to make that conscious decision about what my life was going to be and where
yeah.
that path was going to take me. And I think this can happen to a lot of women as well. Whether you have children or not, and whether, you're looking at a different career or, career change. There's
Mm,
definitely pivotal moments where you get to a point and you're like, I have to actually make a decision about what it is that I want to do with my life.
yeah.
I really had to make that decision. And I'd always loved design. A lot of my family and friends had always said to me, "Oh, you're really amazing at, what you do and styling my homes and things like that." And I'd always really loved it. So I started studying interior design for me because it was something that I really loved. I never envisaged it was going to become what it has now, but it really took off. And yeah, and the rest is history, really, when it comes to 13 interiors.
My
I
God,
guess on
you
that
are the
level.
second person that I've spoken to today about that moment in life where, oh, I love visitors. Hello, who is
Ah,
this? Oh, what a
coming for a little
cutie.
chat. Oh, you cookie bugger.
I love that. That's so cute. No, you're the second person today I've spoken to about that moment in life where you do realize you need to actually do something that you're passionate about and get obsessed with and that you want to work on.
Mm,
So that's so interesting that you did have that moment of, I'm going to do this for me.
yeah,
And so cool that the exploring something that you actually love, how
yeah,
that's the thing that took off.
yeah. I had no concept that it was really going to turn into that.
Mm,
I just knew that it's something that I really enjoyed. And I think when I got into the studying and I started doing the assignments and you're submitting the assignments and you're excited to do an assignment, like who says that when they're studying? And it
yeah.
was just a really different experience after all the years of, working for someone else and
Mm,
fixing their systems and their processes and looking after their staff. And yeah, it really became about something that I didn't know existed within me. And it
yeah.
really was a total life reset.
Wow, I love this so much. So, sounds like the book is something similar to this. What's the book all about?
Yeah. So the book is called No Fence, No Limits. And it really is about my life story of the fertility treatments and really growing up expecting your life to be one way and then it going a
Mm.
completely different way. So sorry, my dog is putting it down.
Getting excited. It's a very
She's
exciting podcast to be a part
super
of.
excited, sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
I love it.
so yeah, it's as we grow up, I think we have these expectations around what our life is going to be. And I think
Mm,
everyone can relate to this. And you think you're going down one path and you grow up and you get married and you think you're going to have kids and the white picket fence. And what happens when life doesn't translate that way? And where does it
mm,
see you? And the societal expectations and the comparisons that we go through about seeing what friends and family might be doing. And my book talks about that whole journey of those expectations that I had on myself that I think my family probably expected of me as well, and friends, and that environment that you're growing up with. And then when your life goes a different path, what does that ultimately do to you and your mental health? And I share the journey of the
mm,
fertility struggles, the unknown path to my starting my business, and then the eventuation of realizing that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And sometimes the cards you get dealt are the cards that you are meant to be dealt.
yes.
And there's no amount of trying to change that path. You are where you're supposed to be. And I share that in the book and I talk about the adversity, but knowing that sometimes out of the crappiest times, amazing things can still happen. And you might not know what's at that end of that tunnel, or you haven't really seen the light yet, but sometimes you just need to hang on.
Mm. And is that so? As you're talking, I'm thinking about all of the people listening who are having that moment right now. Because I also think can happen again and again where you kind of,
Yeah.
oh, maybe this is the thing. Oh, maybe this is the thing. And,
Yes. Yeah.
and we're continually going through those feelings.
Mm.
I mean, obviously you have the benefit of hindsight. I mean, you've gone through
Yes.
something that's horrific.
Mm.
But you've landed in this spot and pursued this dream and it's obviously working out. But do you have any advice for when you're in those moments? And you said sometimes you've just got to hang on, but is there anything that helped you get through?
I think I had some really good friends and a strong family base that was very
Mm,
supportive. There's definitely coping mechanisms that I think everyone has that are different. So I'm very much that person that needs a goal to work towards. So I don't work well in pity environments. I need
yeah.
to know that, okay, this has happened. This is where I need to be and this is my goal. So I'm quite structured like that. I've realized I actually do like change, and change is very much something that is good for me, where it's not
Mm,
for everyone. But there's also support networks, I think, are really important from a perspective of friends and family that can just listen. I think it's really
Mm.
hard in those times of adversity when you have a lot of people around you and they might say things that are a little bit insensitive and not realizing because they've never really experienced what you're going through, whether it is fertility or something else and challenging times, deaths in family. But often, sometimes you just need people to listen. And it might be
Mm.
just that friend that has a really good listening ear that you can confide in, but they don't need to fill the air with their voice. They listen to yours. And I think that can be something that's super supportive. And it definitely was for me in certain situations. I think it's working through like those stages of grief. My book talks a lot about denial, grief, depression. It talks about the acceptance and then going, okay, well, this is where I'm at. What am I going to do with that? So it can be really challenging. And I think it can be a lot of things that add up together to
Yeah.
change the result. But often the biggest thing can just be going, I and knowing that there is more for you. And I think that was for me going, there is something else out there for me, and I know it.
Mm. And I think that that is the most beautiful reason why your book now exists is because sometimes when you're just, going through this alone and you're isolated and you're going, oh my God, like, how did I get here? Or why isn't this happening? Being able to read a book like this and hear about your experience and know that there's hope. Like, I think that that
Yeah.
is such a beautiful reason to have this book exist in the world so that you can, I guess, be that beacon if somebody is sitting there going, what the hell? Be that beacon of hope for them. So, how amazing.
Thank you. I really hope that it is that beacon of hope for people, and that is
Mm.
exactly why I wrote it. I tend to find when I was going through this, I guess, chapter in life and also starting to write this book, a lot of journeys that you hear about or experiences that people have had are that they
Mm.
go through these really shitty times and they do have children at the end, whereas
Yes.
that wasn't my story. And
Yeah.
but I want people to know that just because I didn't have children and my world is, say, different to your world, it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Mm.
Amazing things can still eventuate out of opportunities because that first thing didn't happen.
Mm.
And I just hope that that is a beacon of light for people when they do read it to know whatever they're going through that, yeah, just because their first idea of what their life was, they thought their life was going to look like, doesn't mean that the way it ends up is wrong.
What was it like actually writing those words on paper? What was it like actually writing a book about something that was so emotional and a personal experience?
It was quite hard in the beginning. I didn't write it in the beginning for it to be published.
Mm.
I It was quite a long time ago when I did start it, but it was more of a process of getting things on paper. And I think just, I don't know, more of a cathartic experience of just like pen to paper and writing things out. And then as I started sort of, I guess, almost journaling a little bit,
Yeah.
started to see that maybe this could be an opportunity for someone else. I
Mm.
was really hoping that if I did explore this and maybe publish it one day, that it was there to help somebody else. And as I got a little bit further along, and my husband and I would talk about it because we were very private about our journey too, and it's something that was very obviously this impacted him deeply as well, and he was very private about the situation too. And I just felt like it was such a taboo topic too, and I really wanted people to know that it's okay to talk about things like this and your feelings or, whatever it's related to. So
Mm.
the initial journeys of it, I think, was quite hard. As I got towards more of the end and then started really capturing about how 13 Interiors started and how life has eventuated now, I was almost excited about it at that point because I was
Yeah.
like, no, this is going to be great for somebody else. And I hope that they pick it up and they walk away with just that little bit of light going, no, there's more for me.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that. I'm always fascinated. I just, have a wall of books and am
Yeah.
forever writing books in my brain and not always getting them on paper. So I'm always fascinated by books. It's just something so romantic about the physical.
Yeah.
We just talked about that in interiors, right? Like there is something so powerful about the physical. So having a real life book, and I think in this digital world that we live in, is always so fascinating to me as well. Did
Yeah.
you get a publisher or a self-publish?
So I went with Dean Publishing, and
Oh,
they are
I love them. Susan's
yes.
amazing.
It
Cool.
is super amazing. I've had such an amazing experience with them. I think I was one of the fastest published books this year. We started together, I think, in March or something or other. But I'd obviously sort of pre-written the book at that point and then worked
Yes.
with their editing team on the structure
Yes.
and the name and the format of it. So it's been a really amazing experience and so supportive with them. And
Mm.
yeah, definitely recommend the publishing journey
Oh
process.
my God, that is so good. And so then does that mean if you publish through them, you should be pretty much available anywhere if anyone wants to pick up
That's
a
right.
copy?
Yeah. So we've
Cool.
got it is pre-orders are open now and it is on my Kelly Donegal website. And you can also we have our launch coming up with Readings Bookstore in Chadstone on the 2nd of October. So that books are available through them. And then in Perth, we are having a launch party with Boundless Books in Leederville. And the party will be at Leederville Hotel on the 22nd of October. So that's super exciting. And then it's available
Cool.
online through like Amazon, Booktopia, and all those places as well. But the bookstores and obviously my website are the more local people to support too. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. I could talk to you all day, Kelly. But I always love to wrap up these podcasts with one last piece of advice. So, reflecting on your time in business, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to another woman on her business journey?
Or my favorite quote is you don't need to be everything to everyone. You just need to be everything to your ideal client. And I always talk about that in my workshops or my mentoring when we're doing, when I coach design clients. So I think that it's something where we can get overwhelmed with and feel like that we do have to be everything to everyone, but we don't. We just have to be that ideal person to that ideal client. And that's the most important thing.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Kelly, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story and your wisdom.
Thank
I know
you.
so many people listening in wouldn't have gotten so much out of that. So, so grateful for your
Wonderful.
time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That wraps another episode of Spark TV. Shout out to Spark TV sponsor IP Australia for their amazing support of the Spark podcast and women in business. And if no one tells you today, you've got this.